Yo, what is up guys? I thought I'd do a different video today where I go through my settings and what I think is the most optimal, efficient setup in StarCraft 2. So we'll just go through each of these tabs and I'll show you what I have set up for it all. So obviously this top part doesn't really matter, it all comes down to personal preference. I mean, background, model, which one's the coolest? I like Artanis, he's a badass. Windowed full screen, obviously for me, switching out between my double monitors. This doesn't really matter too much. Reduce violence, you can tick that if you want, but oh well. Graphics, okay, here's a very important one. So when I set them up, I set everything to medium, and then I change my texture quality to high, and this allows pylons and warpins to, or maybe just pylon with a warpin field around it to be more visible. Post-processing to low, physics off, and models to high. Models to high is a very important one, or else you can't see what units are being warped in. Unit portraits 2D, it's just a personal preference. I mean, I put my movies on low, just a personal preference as well. So that's graphics. On sound, you want to chuck things up as high as you can so you can hear properly. Turn off ambient sounds. They're just annoying things, like the zealot on the loading screen, stuff like that. So you don't need that. And like water sounds, they're just really annoying. The rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. You want to turn voices up very high as well. I also like to check plain background. Voice chat, not important. Mouse and keyboard is very important. You want to enable mouse sensitivity and set it to 51%. I can't remember the exact reasoning, but it means that your mouse is not skipping frames. There's like a Team Liquid thread out there that explains this more in detail. I like to be able to zoom the mouse wheel, but you can untick this if you want. But as a Terran player, I definitely leave that ticked. Reduce mouse lag, you do not want to tick. Cursor size, obviously you don't want it as big as possible, so on the middle to small end is where I like to put it. Then for mouse scroll speed and drag scroll speed, they're the important ones. Keyboard scroll speed doesn't really matter that much, but for mouse scroll speed and drag scroll speed, yeah, it's hard to say. Essentially you should put it up to as high as possible. I could probably put it up a bit higher, but I just leave it at 71 at the moment. But at the beginning, they put it down to like 20, and that is super inefficient. Bump it all the way up, and you guys will get used to it really quickly. In the gameplay section, either have show unit life bar set to always or damaged. Personally, I like damaged. Control groups as unclickable or unassignable. You don't want to accidentally click on them in the middle of a battle. Show flyer helper, always. That's the setting that you want to go for there. With all these user interface ones, the important one is obviously enable enemy selection, but essentially you should have them all ticked except for enable simple command card, which you can do, but I just don't like it. And personally, I don't have show alerts because sometimes you can like click them accidentally in the top left hand corner, which is a big problem. In colors, I mean, this comes down to whatever you want to set it to. Social, obviously if you're playing in tournaments, you want to not have these show Blizzard channels in game. You don't want to have that. And you also want to set the set status to busy when playing a game if you're in a tournament. Just, I don't know if you guys are interested in that. Language and region, self-explanatory. Observer and replay, self-explanatory. Going to hotkeys, obviously this comes down to whatever hotkey setup that you guys prefer. I use the core, so obviously my hotkey layout's going to be very different to what you guys will use. And I'm not going to advocate in this video the use of the core or any sort of hotkeys like that. But one thing that I will point out is that you want to make sure that you do have the rapid fire ability set up. So that's choosability or AI target. And with the core I have it set up to 8, but you know, with a normal hotkey layout you might set it to Z or S or all of your like Zealot, Stalker, Warpins, so you can rapid fire them. So yeah guys, that was my settings and options again in SC2. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back with more content every day.